BackPageLead Vidcast. You and I are wearing the same clothes as we were in the first one.
Yeah, although someone said that they loved the shirt I was wearing, so I thought I'd put it back on. I don't know about your
my
jumper.
purple jumper.
Yeah,
It's my Melbourne Storm jumper. We can't get in sympathy with it. Let's look at the two semi-finals this weekend. Adelaide and Freo at Amy Stadium on Friday night, and then of course Collingwood and West Coast. So 3 non-Victorian teams involved. People will jump off the Crows bandwagon perhaps because of what happened in the first weekend. But since 2000, there's an interesting stat, and I'm sure you're aware of it. 24 qualifying final losers. Of those 24, 22 have rebounded in week 2 and won.
Well, I think back to, I think it might have been 1998 when the Crows beat us in the grand final. Melbourne flogged them in the first final, and the Crows got to the grand final and ended up winning it. So it's certainly possible. I'm not going to jump off like a big tick to Fremantle this year. I just think in Adelaide, and I know it was in Adelaide on the weekend. They got beat against a very good side in Sydney, but I've just got a feeling that they'll bounce back. I think they have been a very good side all year. I know they've had played, the Gold Coast and Greater Western Sydney twice and all of that type of stuff. But I think they're a better side than what they showed last week, and I think they'll bounce back against Freo, even though Talia's injured, who's been a massive injury for them. But
I think Talia played on Pavlich last time. Did well.
He did, and did quite well on him. Ben Rutten hasn't had a great year this year. Not sure he's. From my memory, when I was there, he had a very good endurance for a big guy, Ben Rutten. Don't know whether that still is the case, whether his training's changed and now he is just more of a stay-at-home defender. Yeah. But I'm sure he'll get a crack at him at some stage. But he becomes very important to them, doesn't he, the big Pav, when he's in that sort of form. But I'm tipping Adelaide.
He did, Pavlich, just on that, he did look like he might have hurt his Achilles again, not badly, but he doesn't train much, does he, these days? I think he just plays.
Well, this time of year, Charlie, when you've played a full year, you don't need to train. It's just top up. It's just recovery. It's just getting yourself right for the next game. So you're match fit. You don't need to train a lot. He's only got to get himself up for the game. He'll get enough training then, and if they happen to win, he'll do the same the week after, and hopefully the week after.
Okay, the Crows to win that and continue that record of qualifying final losers who bounce back in the second week.
Yep.
Interesting game, this one, Collingwood and West Coast. Nathan Buckley under a bit of fire from even within his own support base about how they conceded 130 plus points to Hawthorn again on last Friday night. But there's a feeling that the defensive edge has gone off the Magpies game, which is what you talked about.
Yeah, but it's not only the defensive edge. I think their attacks, sort of been certainly not as potent as it was in the first half of the year. So they're all-round game. They haven't been in great form. Let's be honest. Yeah. They're coming up against a side that looks very formidable on the weekend. They're big. They're strong.
They beat them 2 weeks ago.
Beat them only a couple of weeks ago. The weather will play a part, I suppose, especially if the weather is dry, then you wonder who's going to match up on all of those West Coast forwards, because Darling, who you know what I think of him, 20-year-old who is just very good player. Kennedy's now probably, you still have to send maybe your best defender to Kennedy. That allows Darling, when you got Natanui and Cox, and then you add Lynch to that, Darling's getting your second or third best defender.
Assuming Lynch plays, and he probably won't.
It's just very hard to beat when you've got a young 20-year-old that's playing as he is.
So Rain is really, Collingwood would be praying for rain.
I think Collingwood would be praying for rain.
Yep.
But I'm actually tipping West Coast just purely on form to win this one.
In defiance of sort of recent history, as we've discussed. But West Coast have only won once in the last 11 starts at the MCG.
Yeah, and look, and that's history's there to be changed. And I like I said, I really think that West Coast are in better form right now than Collingwood, and that's the only reason why I'm tipping West Coast. Collingwood are still a very good football team, and it would not surprise them winning and still capable, I think, of going all the way, as I think all of the sides are that are still in the hunt. But I just think on form West Coast.
The Pies also, just quickly on their last meeting, recalled Cameron Wood to give Darren Jolly a hand in the ruck, and I think they were beaten 59-12 in the hit-out, so that sort of shapes as an obvious area where they might have problems.
I think any side against West Coast is going to have problems. You know, when you watch Natanui and Cox, that combination and what they do around the ground. What really impressed me against the Kangaroos was Natanui's now learning how to play as a forward, not just as a ruckman and follower. He actually led a few times yesterday, took a couple of nice marks out on the lead, which means he's learning that part of his game, which is dangerous for opposition sides. Like I said, especially when you got Kennedy, Darling, and Lynch and those guys down there as well.
So a big weekend for Nathan Buckley too, isn't it?
I think
if they go out in straight sets,
look, Collingwood have got a lot of reasons for them having inconsistencies this year, and a lot of those are based around injuries.
Yeah.
So I think any side that's in the finals this week is under pressure. I don't think the coach. I think it's the players that are under pressure because they're under pressure to perform, and obviously if they don't, they're out. And you certainly don't want to go out in straight sets.
No.
When you've finished in the top four.
No. So Adelaide and West Coast to win the semi-finals, and we look forward to speaking to you after the next weekend.
So that'll be Adelaide, West Coast, and Sydney. Three of the four sides will be interstate sides in the prelim if my prediction's correct.
Yeah.
So let's hope I'm wrong.
Thanks, Wayne Carey.
Cheers.